student preparing to further my education in college, I jumped for joy the first time that I heard of free college. I thought this meant that I could go to whichever college I wanted to without considering prices. I didn't have to have a job during or throughout before college, and I could come out of school debt-free, which sounded awesome. But my thoughts changed after one night I discussed with my dad, and he opened up some negative things that could come from free college. Where would the government get the money? Would students still take education seriously, and how would colleges be affected are some questions that came to my mind. Students are thinking too much about the money that they could save from free college, but are not considering the possible effects that could come from these flawed free college plans. Therefore, the U.S. government should not implement free college policies. Many people tend to have the belief that free college tuition and education would benefit our country because it would make college affordable for everyone and would improve the education in the United States. We believe this because on TV we see Bernie Sanders and other politicians and Bernie supporters discussing how this free college would benefit America. Bernie's plans consist of making tuition free, cutting the interest rates on student loans, implementing more work-study programs, and more to make college affordable for especially low-income students. We also see the crazy amounts of money that tuition costs now, and it makes it seem that no one can even afford college. But people need to realize that these free college plans come with many flaws. First being the upper class will benefit more than the lower class will. The lower class already receives many grants like Pell Grants for their tuition and housing. Bruning from New Republic says the poorest fourth of the population at public colleges already have no net tuition, and if college were free, they would no longer offer housing grants because they have to make up some of the money. And so now these lower class people will have an extra bill that they never had before. And meanwhile, the higher income students generally don't receive grants like the lower class, but now they'll also have no net tuition, so they're benefiting from it more. Second, the motivation to have a good education will decrease because students like us now rely on academic scholarships to pay for our college education. So we work really hard in school and take our education seriously to pay for college, but if college were free, then we wouldn't take our grades so seriously, and we would only achieve the grades to pass or get accepted into colleges. And third, free college isn't really free. The money used to fund this comes from our pockets. The U.S. taxpayers will be heavily taxed to cover this $47 billion per year plan. And since college would be cheaper for some, more would choose to go to college, which is more money coming from our pockets. And also, when students choose to go to college for wrong reasons and drop out, they're not wasting their money, they're wasting our money. And also, to compensate, taxes could be redirected from important priorities like healthcare, prisons, roadways, and K-12 education. Lastly, private universities will struggle to compete. Students will choose public universities since they will cost less, which will cause private universities to lower their prices, which could result in some closings. And when these private universities close, the publics will be overflowed with students, which makes it harder to get accepted because there will be a lot of competition. And studies show that higher education comes from higher income families. Therefore, lower income students who this policy is built for are less likely to get accepted into these crowded public schools. In conclusion, because we students nearing college are so concerned about our financial status, we do not consider the other factors that could be caused by this free college plan. As many tend to believe otherwise, free colleges will not make college more affordable for everyone and will not raise the levels of education in our country. If you support free college, you are supporting rich students receiving breaks in costs rather than the lower class students. If you support free college, you are supporting the large tax raise for taxpayers and a shift in taxes from other important things like K-12 education. If you support free college, you are supporting the destruction of the motivation for students to receive good grades. And if you support free college, you are supporting the closing of private universities and making extremely competitive public colleges. We need to find a way to make college more affordable, but plans like Bernie's will not achieve this. A high school senior's parent says, "Too bad his cure would be worse than the disease, even if it weren't politically unrealistic." So, knowing the flaws in these plans, do not support plans like Bernie Sanders to make college free and open other people's eyes who are oblivious to the possible effects that could be detrimental to our country because they are concerned about their financial status. College will never be free. Everything comes at a price.
So you said something about like the competition in the public schools. Would the students then still have to be accepted to the college, or could they just go if it was free?
Like if the,
Okay.
what are you saying?
No, like if they were to go to college, like whenever I think of free college, I just think of like everybody going, and like you still don't have to put in an application or anything because it is free. Because
Oh no, they still have to apply. So like they, like that studies say that like lower income students like usually don't have a higher education. So like even though this is implemented, this doesn't mean that the low income families would make it into college.
So then again, will that make like, would you think the tests that like we have to take to get into college, would they be harder, or would they be?
I feel like they'd be about the same.
Are low-income students offered the same opportunities now as they would, say, in a free education system? You think that, let me rephrase. Do you think that low-income students are getting equal opportunity in the system we have now as opposed to if we had free college tuition?
Yeah, because well, I'm pretty sure community college is already free for some people, so they can go there, and also like they're already receiving no net tuition because they received like Pell Grants and like all these grants from the government. And so, like I said, now if college is free, they'll have to pay housing, which they normally get a grant for, so they're just getting extra bills really and not receiving as many grants. Yes.
Can you clarify? I don't know if I understand what you're saying.
So right now they like most of the lower class people already have like no tuition payments because they receive grants, and they also receive grants on housing. But when a lot of colleges said they won't offer housing grants anymore, so the tuition will be free, but they're going to have to pay housing, which is a bill they didn't have before.
Thank you for clarifying.
So, like, I know you don't agree with, like, free college, but do you agree with, like, lowering the cost of college since, like, the prices are rising and they're kind of getting...
Yeah, I agree with that because the prices are getting ridiculous, but everyone's trying to compete, and I don't know. I think we do need to figure out a way to lower the cost, but like plans like Bernie Sanders aren't the way to do it.
All right, thank you.